What's poppin', everyone? My name is Tristan Respress, and this is Talking with Tristan. Today, we're going to be talking about creative burnout. Do you feel drained, overwhelmed, not sure if any good ideas are coming out of your brain, feeling like you might not love what you're doing anymore? Well, you might be facing a creative burnout. According to a 2020 survey, 75% of US workers say they experience burnout, and freelancers are not immune to this. Burnout is a psychological reaction to excessive stress over a prolonged period of time, which affects both physical and mental health through symptoms of exhaustion. So now let's talk about what a creative burnout is. A creative burnout is that feeling that all your creativity is drained and you got nothing left. If you feel like you're dreading work, tired, or you're stressed all the time and you suspect that you'll never create something good again, this is a creative burnout. Being a content creator on social media, I have definitely faced creative burnout more than once. And it's very hard to deal with. You start to overwork yourself to the point where you're stressing so much and you feel like your work isn't good enough. So you start beating yourself up because you're not producing the results that you're looking for. And you start adding all this unneeded stress on yourself. But at what cause? What's the point? Why do we fall into these destructive cycles? So let's talk about what can cause a creative burnout. You could have too much work on your plate. When you have an unhealthy work balance, unachievable expectations from your manager, unclear briefs, frustrating back and forth with clients, or monotonous tasks, all of these can be from the physical, mental, and emotional stress stemming from burnout. And you might even be facing burnout without even noticing it. On my journey on social media, I was definitely overworking myself. It's very easy to do. I don't have a boss. I am my own boss. No one is telling me what to do. I'm telling myself what to do. And I'm trying to make my dreams happen. So my mindset is I'm going to keep working until my dreams happen. But coming to this point in life, that is not a great mindset to have. Because I got to the point where I worked so much and my dreams never happened, but I was still working. And I just kept adding stress onto myself every day. And when I saw that nothing was working, I would ask myself what is wrong, and I would try to work even more to fix the problem. So I was just adding more stress onto myself. I love to eat, but I had too much on my plate. Even if you work from home, you can still overwork yourself and cause burnout. What? You're working from home and you still feel burnt out even though you're not at a physical building where your boss can be looking over your shoulder watching everything that you do? Yes, you can still feel burnt out working from home. There are people out there that will put in the work even if there's somebody watching them or not. And if nobody's watching these people and these people don't have the right things set in place to avoid burnout, they can easily get burnout without even noticing it. Real quick, let's talk about some symptoms for burnout so you can identify what a burnout looks like. You feel constantly drained, you're exhausted, or you're unable to cope and feeling overwhelmed, or you're feeling frustrated and you're feeling your professional ability decreasing. It also leads to cynicism and irritability. You start dreading work and procrastinating, or you can have frequent headaches, stomach, or bowel problems. Burnout doesn't look the same for everyone, and you can have one or more of these symptoms. In an ideal world, we would like to prevent burnout before even curing it, because preventing burnout is better than curing it. But not all the time you can prevent burnout, and you might even be deep in burnout doo-doo. With creativity, the more you use, the more you have. But keep in mind, you can squeeze every drop of creativity from your brain, but your mind still needs rest. If you keep drawing from your creative well without ever filling it up, it will eventually go dry. When you're in deep burnout doo-doo, even if you work more, it might be counterproductive. You get the best results when you're well rested. Creative burnout could lead to sleepless nights. You're overworking yourself, so you're not getting the rest that you need. Or you just have so much stress and anxiety on your well-being, and that hinders you from getting a good night's sleep. Or you might be overworking yourself to the point where you don't even get any sleep, and that's bad. And when all this happens, it just puts you off of your schedule. And when you're off schedule, you're probably feeling your life isn't going the direction where you want it to go. So that might make you sad as well. But real quick, I'm just going to say you are where you're supposed to be in life. And if you're listening to this podcast episode, you may be in a creative burnout. And I'm hoping this podcast episode can help you identify what a burnout looks like and help you get out of it. But let's continue with the podcast. The life as a creative can be extremely stressful. Remember to put your physical and mental health first. You matter first, then your job. It can wait. Back in my 20s when I was working a server job, I had the priority of my job comes first and then me. And that was really bad. It took me a while to figure out that I come first and then my job. But at that moment, it was my job, then me. Like I would do everything in my power to make sure my job was going well. If I was sick, it was hard for me to call in to work sick. So most of the times I showed up to work. But that's not very good, is it? It's not good for me because I'm sick and I need to rest. It's not good for work because I could possibly get other members sick. And the fact that I'm not showing up as my best possible self can affect the workplace. And this is all pre-COVID, keep that in mind. But then I started to think about putting myself first, and everything started to change for the better. Like, think about it. There won't be a job without me. I matter a lot. We matter a lot. Sure, the job can replace you, but the real question is, do they want to go through the time to replace you? Then ask this question: would your job rather have the best possible you or no? If anything, I feel like everybody deserves the best possible you. So if you want to step into that abundance, put you first. Going back to preventing burnout, take a break. Feeling burned out comes from an overflow of work, request, and emotions. So giving yourself more time and space to digest these is key to preventing physical and emotional exhaustion. It's okay to take breaks. Nothing's wrong with that. In a regular job, everybody gets a break. And breaks are good for your brain and learning. So take more breaks. When you're organizing your work week, don't forget to plan some downtime to unwind. If you're a freelancer, you should incorporate this in your quotes. If it's a 2-day job, it's a 2-day job. You should get breaks too. Even people with normal jobs get breaks and lunch breaks. Why can't you too? Think about all this as an investment in a burnout-free future. Don't try to do it all. Accepting that you can't do everything is the first step to a healthy relationship with your work and creativity. There are some projects out there that require so much to do. And if you're trying to do all of that by yourself, you can easily get overwhelmed. Back on my social media journey, I was very stubborn. I was trying to do everything and anything. Like I was filming the content, I was editing the content, I was posting the content, I was engaging with others. There's so much work that goes behind social media that if you try to do it all by yourself, it can be draining. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but let's use Mr. Beast as an example. Mr. Beast has a very successful YouTube channel, and he didn't do it all by himself. He did it with a team. He delegated tasks to other members within his team. He didn't do everything by himself. And now since Mr. Beast has a team working with him, he can accomplish so much more than what one person could have done. Now, I'm not saying you have to build a team in order to be successful, because there's some projects where you have to do the work by yourself. But when there's a moment where you find you can't do something, ask for help. Realizing that you can't do everything means that you can ask for help on other tasks that needs to be done. Trying to solve everything by yourself can cause a big mental load and also make you a target to extreme delegators. This is a breed of clients and colleagues who thrive on letting you do all the work with little to no guidance or support. This tendency is often a result of imposter syndrome, because you think you're the problem and you should already know this or be able to do it faster. But don't let that self-doubt be responsible for your burnout. Also, saying no is very powerful. Saying no gives you the time you need to focus on what you're doing. If you're always saying yes, will you ever have time for yourself? If you're in a creative burnout, you definitely need to take a break. You need time for yourself. You need to rest. You need to relax. So learn how to say no and do a little self-care. So now let's talk about how you deal with burnout. Sometimes we can't prevent burnout. We might even be in the middle of a burnout doo-doo. That's okay, it happens. Taking a break is essential, but it's not the only thing to help you with a burnout. First off, you gotta be honest with yourself. Acceptance is the first step to recovery. There is no shame in feeling burnt out. Once you identify and acknowledge burnout, you can start taking the steps you need to work through your creative burnout. But don't literally work through your burnout, because that will make it worse. Like, take time to yourself and process everything that's happening. If you're literally working through your burnout, you're just taking more burnout doo-doos. And treat yourself with kindness. When you're in a burnout, you're open to self-deprecation and negativity. Don't be so hard on yourself. Look at the positive potential your work has. Positivity can be a great tool for burnout. Just try some affirmations. Like, I am grateful to have a good work-life balance. Or, I'm grateful to take a break when I need. Or, I allow myself to honor my energy. Really listen to yourself. Listen to your needs. Feel your body. And another thing you can do with burnout is enjoy the work of others. Seeing one's work might inspire you to get out of your creative burnout and recharge your batteries. It also sends a good vibration out there to the universe as well. You taking your time to appreciate another person's art, people are going to take the time out of their day to appreciate your art as well. And the last thing you can do for dealing with a creative burnout is learn from it. I feel like we're all bound to be in a creative burnout at least one point in our lives. And the best thing we can do is learn from it. This podcast episode can help you, but the best knowledge is one from experience. If it does, please rate this podcast, share it with a friend, download it, do all the saucy things, you know. So for the question of the day, what are your thoughts on burnout? Let me know in the comments, or you can send me a DM on Instagram. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Take care. Hasta la pasta. Cue the outro.